A lovely evening and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Odidi-Ochi with the news. Thank you for joining us. 117 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported. 59 in Lagos, 29 in the FCT, 14 in Kano, 6 in Borno, 4 in Katsina, 3 in Ogun, 1 in Rivers, and 1 in Bauchi. In all, as at 11:25 p.m. 21st April, there are 782 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported in Nigeria, discharged 197 and 25 deaths. 5 cases previously reported in Lagos State have been transferred to Ogun State. Therefore, Lagos has reported 430 confirmed cases, while Ogun has reported 20 confirmed cases. The Economic Sustainability Committee, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, is enlarging the pool of options open to Nigeria in achieving the administration's plan to turn the current economic challenges to opportunities for Nigerians. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that the new sustainability plan is almost ready for submission to the President for approval.
Now, the Economic Sustainability Committee is leaving no stone unturned for the new federal government's post-COVID-19 economic stimulus. For example, earlier in the week, on Tuesday to be precise, Chairman of the committee, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, through a video conferencing, met with the representatives of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The committee has been collaborating with domestic sectors of the Nigerian economy, and now the Vice President is interfacing with international agencies for the purpose of rolling out options as President Muhammadu Buhari has directed.
What Mr. President has asked us to do is to devise a strategy in order to be able to keep the economy going, and also to make provisions to ensure that we're able to retain jobs and indeed even provide more jobs.
We're looking at various ways and means to support each sector of the economy, providing for each sector clear interventions that will be designed with the primary purpose of creating jobs and ensuring that businesses stay afloat during these difficult times.
The 7-member Economic Sustainability Committee was set up as a response to the challenges in the economic front resulting from the fall in the prices of oil in the international market, as well as the disruptive impact of the pandemic that has disrupted the global economy. And it is expected to submit its report soon. And from every indication, the President intends to act speedily on the Osinbajo Committee's report in the State House. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Next report from Umaya says, in direct response to the 2 confirmed index cases of coronavirus in Abia State, Governor Okeze Ikpeazu says his government has dispatched officers for contact tracing to ascertain others who might have had contact with the index cases. Chinyere Okoli on Situation Report was there.
The massive contact tracing will commence in Ikwano, Umuahia North and Okwa West local government areas where the index cases had contact with people. He ordered the closure of the private clinics where they were being treated and directed that doctors and nurses that attended to them be quarantined. Governor Ikpeazu revealed that the index cases are septuagenarians who had no previous traveling history in recent times and already have underlying medical conditions, and charged frontline officers and everyone who has a role to play to show greater commitment in the fight against the disease.
It has placed on us the additional burden to make sure that we recall every protocol and directive that the government has enunciated, dovetailing from what NCDC is directing to us as a way of keeping ourselves safe from COVID-19.
On the 20th April 2020, State recorded 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Both patients are advanced in age but currently stable at the Federal Medical Center Isolation Ward. In Umuahia Chinyere Okoli, NTA News.
And from Akwa Ibom, the initial and additional confirmed cases of coronavirus patients in that state, according to the COVID-19 managers, are responding to palliative health care and have remained stable. Ifeoma Aikoje, however, reports that the late Dr. Dominic Esien's posthumous sample, which came out positive, has continued to raise a lot of concerns among Uyo residents.
The coronavirus patients who are being managed at the multi-specialty hospital are stable and have no need for ventilators. The managers say the government is also providing every necessary support.
The patients that are remaining are stable. None of them has required a ventilator.
We commend the efforts of the Akwa Ibom state government within the last few weeks.
The COVID-19 frontline health managers in Akwa Ibom State have also commended the collaboration and contributions of NCDC and requested for more assistance. On the concerns raised by the late Dr. Dominic Esien's posthumous sample that came out positive, patients and clients who interacted closely with the late medical expert have been advised to self-isolate and make themselves available for testing. Meanwhile, Akwa Ibom State government has proposed aggressive COVID testing and is working round the clock to provide more facilities for the management of the pandemic.
After a laboratory contact tracing, the next thing is you must test these people. It is even better to test people who are not showing any symptoms. The beds, the equipment, and what we are going to use here, they are all ready.
Only designated treatment centers can provide safe isolation and management of COVID-19 cases. Hence, experts have said it is important for every suspected case to be reported to the appropriate authority for proper management. In Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, Ifeoma Aikoje, NTA News.
Still on COVID-19, apart from funding, lack of collaboration and coordination among research institutes have been highlighted as reasons for inadequate research and development in Nigeria. This was a submission of guests on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria while deliberating on the topic COVID-19 Search for Solutions. Alika Okpanachi Arua reports.
As governments around the world continue to work towards curbing the spread of COVID-19, scientists are all in their labs working to find a vaccine or cure for the virus. However, guests on Good Morning Nigerian suggest looking into alternative medicine and developing vaccines that are indigenous to Nigeria. They maintain that due to the critical role research and development plays, the time to start thinking of top-level research development works to help fight COVID-19 and any future pandemic that might arise is now.
Looking at the possibility of picking up a particular site within the sequence of the virus that may be used to target diagnostics, kit development within the country.
Like recently we sent samples also to NIPRID. We sent some samples to them for analysis. But if we are all working together, even in developing a proposal, we know our areas of strength.
To achieve this, however, the guest says it requires the collective effort of both the government and the private sector, as well as individual donations. They also noted that privatization of research and development in Nigeria has led to lack of medical security and preparedness for pandemics like coronavirus.
We are not proactive, and I believe that as a country we should be proactive. If we had been proactive, we would be where we are right now.
At the very highest levels of this country, a COVID-19 Research and Development Action Committee needs to be set up.
They therefore emphasize the need for research institutes to stop working in silos and collaborate in finding alternative solutions to the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arua, NTA News.
The role of frontline workers, also known as essential workers, cannot be overemphasized, especially in times like this. And so people say societal efforts will go a long way in encouraging them. That's what we're going to be talking about as we engage in this Skype interview with Bala Zaka, a public affairs analyst. If you can hear me loud and clear, welcome to Nationwide. In the first place, who is a frontline worker?
Thank you for that excellent question. Before you define a frontline worker, you have to first define a front line. And a front line is a position that requires putting service providers in a strategic manner such that these service providers will be able to confront, contain, and possibly eliminate an action that, if not properly contained and controlled and eliminated, can lead to a collapse of a system and a tragedy or a calamity. And that simply means when you look at it from that angle, all those who are supposed to be involved in the provision of services to make sure that action or event is contained and controlled and eliminated qualify to be called frontline workers. And the reason why we say this is because a mistake by any of these workers, which I can also best describe as stakeholders in that context, a mistake by any of these frontline workers can reveal the weakest link that will lead to the total collapse and failure of the entire exercise. And from that point again, or that angle, it simply means whether a driver or a cook or a journalist or a medical doctor or a soldier is specially deployed to be involved in the provision of such services. At such points, any of those stakeholders qualifies to be described as a frontline worker.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm so happy you mentioned journalists. Now, what are the essential things that should be in place for them to enhance their work?
Question properly, but from what I can get, it's like you're trying to ask about the basic characteristics or the common things that all of them need to have to do their job or render the service effectively. Am I right?
Yes.
If that was your question, it simply means all of them require basic skills above their conventional or routine or day-to-day skills. And this is the way to explain it. You know, assuming you are dealing with a war situation and you need to deploy drivers, journalists, military men, cooks, caterers, nutritionists, and the rest. Apart from their basic and conventional work, they need to be provided with some skills that will make them survive in a war situation. And that means they may need to have things like masks. They will need to know how to escape or avoid bomb spots. They will need to be kitted with boots and the rest. So the basic protection or personal protection equipment are needed. But as we're talking now, a particular thing is confronting humanity, which is this COVID pandemic. It is a pandemic that is confronting humanity globally, and humanity is supposed to be able to confront it, to contain it, and if possible, to defeat it. So in the case of this COVID-19, whether you are talking about a driver, like I said, or a journalist, or a medical doctor, or a caterer, or whoever, all these people are expected to have been equipped and provided with special skills to confront this pandemic. And from that angle,
once was approved for health workers by the federal government. Do you think this should be extended to others on the front line?
they are supposed to be seen to be equally treated. Because like I said, all of them require the necessary skills and motivation to confront that common enemy we now call COVID-19. Because a mistake or a failure by any of them can reveal the weakest link that will make the entire exercise to end up in jeopardy or to become a failure.
We would just like your words of advice and encouragement to those on the front line.
What I want to let them understand is this. They are actually confronting a global monster. For those of them who have volunteered and offered their services to be at the front line, they are there actually standing on the entire humanity and are protecting us. The best we can do is to continue to offer advices to them, encourage them, and probably also offer words of prayers. But most importantly, for those that are saddled with the responsibility of making sure these frontline workers are motivated and are treated and are supplied with the necessary gears and the skills and the training, they should be given equal treatment because they are there as a team, even though they are individual stakeholders depending on their areas of specializations. But they are there as a team, and it is only as a team that they can help us to confront and conquer that monster called COVID-19.
Much for sharing your thoughts with us on Nationwide. We've been talking with Bala Saka, a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on Nationwide. We'll now take a break. Nationwide continues thereafter.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. The security agencies have risen to the challenges posed by this unprecedented situation with gallantry, and I commend them. I urge them to continue to maintain utmost vigilance, firmness, as well as restraint in enforcing the restriction orders while not neglecting statutory security responsibilities.
Illegal oil refineries are devastating. Crude oil theft is criminal. Oil spill due to vandalism is dehumanizing. Piracy is inimical to the economy and international trade. From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the Atlantic Ocean, inland waterways and beyond, the activities of criminally minded Nigerians and their foreign collaborators have hampered Nigerian economic growth, constituted health hazards, and environmental degradation. The Nigerian Navy is poised to put a stop to these activities. Remember, the harmonized standard operating procedure in the maritime sector for optimal benefits of the nation's economy is fully operational. The Nigerian Navy will leave no stone unturned to ensure defaulters face the full wrath of the law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Be one. Support the Nigerian Navy. Onward together.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently challenged with, we at Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society enjoin all Muslims to adhere strictly to government directives geared towards stopping the spread of the virus. These measures include the stay-at-home order, washing of hands with soap and water, using hand sanitizers where water is not available, and other hygiene measures. We remind you all of the words of Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 195, which says, "And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction." We also remind you of the hadith of the noble prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, "Do not cause harm or return harm." Please stay at home and stay safe with continuous dua. This message is from Project Itfine of Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
Now believe this Koro thing. You know, if you touch black man, if you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make a cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You don't want your changes.
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. No, now wash your hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Thanks for staying. More support for government over COVID-19. Let's now join Hingino in Lagos for more on Nationwide. It's over to you, Hingino.
Thank you, Lydia. Towards ensuring peace in the nation during the COVID-19 lockdown, Lagos residents have been enjoined to be their brother's keeper by maintaining good neighborliness. Nososla reports that residents and the state government called on more private individuals to join the fight against coronavirus disease.
It is obvious that sustaining a lockdown requires access to food, medicine, water, and a host of other necessities. The federal and Lagos state governments have introduced various palliative schemes to cushion the effect of the ongoing lockdown of the state on residents.
Government is trying their best. If you hear what is happening in other nations, you hear even nations that are far, far more sophisticated than us. When you see what they are going through, you will really thank God for Nigeria.
We are pleading with other bodies too, because there are some people that, except they go out on a daily basis, they can't put food in their mouth.
The special advisor to the state governor on agriculture assured residents that government is committed to making sure distribution of the food items is done transparently.
This is the time for all of us to come together, help one another, help our fellow man. When you see your neighbor in need, help your neighbor.
The special advisor also assured residents that more will benefit from the feeding program. In Lagos, Nosa, Osula, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has arrested 11 persons impersonating soldiers in Lagos. General Officer Commanding 81 Division, Major General Olubumi Irafin, who paraded the suspects, warned serving military officers to desist from engaging in commercial transport operations during the lockdown, as anyone arrested will face disciplinary action.
The suspects who were arrested in different areas of Lagos State are all imposters. While some of them were operating commercial motorcycles, others used cars and buses to operate. The suspects confessed that they committed the crime in a bid to avoid police interrogations at several checkpoints. Luck, however, ran out on them following an interception by military police personnel. Major General Olubumi Irefin says intense checks and surveillance will be carried out on motorists who have any military symbol as signs in their cars to ascertain its authenticity.
We'll continue in our effort to sanitize the society. We'll continue in our effort to let the world know that most of the illegal activities going on within Lagos area is not purely by the military. And so you can see them, 11 of them, 10 male and 1 female.
The exercise, according to the GOC, will continue throughout the period of the lockdown. In Lagos, Dotson Ogmiami, NTA News.
And the trend in some parts of Lagos is people who are non-essential workers presenting fake identification cards at checkpoints to maneuver their ways around the metropolis. Abolere Egbara reports that law enforcement agents are smart enough to outsmart such tendencies.
The lockdown order by federal government exempted essential service workers to keep the country running and maintain a level of comfort for the people in terms of meeting their daily needs. But the rule is for such workers to properly identify themselves at security points. We saw this somewhere in Jibo, part of Lagos, where this lady in company of 3 men told law enforcement agents that she had some health issues and had no choice than to go to the hospital for medical treatment. The policemen immediately released her without asking for identity card, owing to fear that there could be more to her ailment.
I think police knows their work. When somebody is bringing a fake ID card or identification, they can still, with their statement or whatever, to investigate to know if the ID card is real or fake.
Some people claim to have ID cards to move around. Some people don't have ID cards. Like me now, I don't have ID cards. I normally do daily work.
So far, Lagosians continue to struggle and comply with the lockdown order owing to the benefits accruable to all in Lagos. Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. It's back to you, Lydia.
You're back in Abuja. We'll now join our correspondent, Mie Ogidi, who is presently at the Utako market to bring us up to speed on activities in the market as people restock during the lockdown. It seems Mie is not ready now. Let us go ahead to our next script. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, to request state chief judges to identify and release deserving inmates in their respective states as part of efforts to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a letter to the CGN, calls for urgent measures to speed up trial of cases and decongest custodial centers that are presently overcrowded and pose a threat to public health in view of the present circumstance. Particular attention, he suggests, should be paid to the aged, those with health issues, low-risk offenders, those with no sufficient legal basis to remain in custody, inmates convicted for minor offenses with or without option of fines, and inmates who have less than 3 years term left to serve, having served a substantial term of their service for offenses that attract 5 years and above. He also suggests that setting up or designation of special courts in all states, including the FCT, to try cases of armed robbery, banditry, kidnapping, and other serious offenses in order to facilitate speedy trials. It's like Mia is ready to give us that situation report from Utako Market. Mia, if you can hear me, what's the situation in Utako?
Thank you very much. The situation here at the popular Utako Market, here in the Federal Capital Territory is deserted for now. But earlier on, at about 1 p.m., we were here. But following the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 directive that markets should be open, especially those ones that are selling food items, to open between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This place was quite busy. Traffic was at its peak. But now, because of the time, the place is deserted. But the question is, the Presidential Task Force only asks neighborhood markets to open. The question now is, markets like Wuse, Garuki, and Utako, are they also neighborhood markets? Because if you were here between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., you will be amazed with the population. And the major issue of distancing was not observed at this place. People were interacting at very close range, exchanging and all that. And later on, we moved to this Gariki 2 neighborhood market. As approved by the PTF, activities were going on smoothly. Even at the point of entrance, it was boldly written that for you to enter this market, you must wear face mask and hand gloves. From there, we proceeded to Kubo Market, where they are purely selling furniture. But we were surprised that activities are commercial also going on there, trading activities. But the question is, does the approval also involve furniture markets? Based on that, I had an interview with the chairman of Abuja Markets Limited, and he told me that markets like Wuse and Otako, ordinarily they are not neighborhood markets, but in those areas there are no neighborhood markets. So the people have to come and get their food items in the closest market. So at this point, I think the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and the enforcement agencies, for instance, like the Abuja Markets Limited, need to reconcile on the categories of market that will open on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Thank you so much for that situation report from Otako Market. We're indeed grateful. Thank you. At this point, we're going to join Sadia Umar-Digi in Sokoto, who is standing by with reports on call for sustainability and prompt payment of allowances and more. Hello, Sadia.
Lydia, welcome to Sokoto. Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara State has approved the release of 22 inmates from the Medium Security Custodial Center. So this is in compliance with the presidential directives to decongest correctional centers across the country as part of measures to control the spread of COVID-19. Sadia Abubakar reports.
It will be recalled that the federal government recently granted amnesty to no fewer than 2,600 inmates serving various jail terms in different correctional centers across the country as part of measures to decongest the facilities amid the coronavirus pandemic. Accordingly, Governor Bello Muhammad of Zamfara State approved for the release of 22 inmates from the Medium Security Custodial Center, Gusau. The released inmates are mostly those sentenced for minor offenses and those who are about to complete their jail terms. The Zamfara State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Nasir Zarumi, who addressed the pardoned inmates shortly after their release, said Governor Bello Muhammad has approved for the grant of similar gesture to mob inmates in the state.
In addition to that, His Excellency also reiterated his intentions that he is going to also release more than 50 inmates as a state pardon. People should accept prisoners when we release them. People are running away from the prisoners. Where are they going to stay? How are they going to mix with people after we have reformed them?
Some of the released inmates who spoke with NTA News could not hide their joy.
I extend my greeting to the Mr. President and this Zamfara State government. I will never repeat anything that is above the law.
The released inmates hail from Zamfara, Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, Ebonyi, and Enugu states. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar, NTA News.
Beneficiaries of the N-Power program in Sokoto have called for sustainability and prompt payment of their monthly allowance. Sheikh Muhammad Dati reports that they made the call in an interview with NTA News. The report.
Subdivided into N-Agro, N-Teach, and N-Health, beneficiaries in Sokoto say their enrollment has been a success. Amin Shehu Kajiji, Usman Hassan, and Sa'adatu Abubakar are all self-employed, courtesy of the Empower program. However, they declared a delay in payment of their monthly allowances, which affects their entrepreneurship.
This beneficing is something that makes me to create something very important because they have already told us that this Empower it will end by two years.
Some of our beneficiaries usually depend on this payment. So that is the only challenges we are facing now, the delay in payment.
Even now, a lot of us have not received their stipends.
Saado Haruna is the N-Agro-Dex officer in Sokoto. Though the program has helped in reducing the unemployment rate in Nigeria, Haruna maintains that more needs to be done.
The supervisors that are in charge of these volunteers, they are supposed to have some entitlements that will motivate them so that it will encourage them to do a lot of work so that to supervise these volunteers with full force.
With the program coming to an end, beneficiaries say they are looking forward to receiving a better package to sustain their entrepreneurship. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
That's it from this end. It's now back to Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Sadia. More than 400 persons have benefited from the conditional cash transfer under the federal government social investment program in Tafa, local government area of Niger State. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports that the beneficiaries, who are the poor and vulnerable, were grateful as well as surprised.
Among the beneficiaries were the fiscally challenged, like Rabo Auta, and those with health challenges, like Binta Nuhu, whom in the midst of over 400 other beneficiaries received cash ranging from 20 to 40,000 naira from the federal government cash transfer program in Tafa local government area of Niger State. Full of appreciation to the federal government, Rabo Auta could only say thank you in his native Bagi language. Other beneficiaries promised to use the money to uplift their standard of living.
429. Make sure they use this money judiciously.
So for local government, we are happy, we are glad with the president for this gesture that come at this time.
Tafa local government used the occasion to distribute motorcycles to village heads and community leaders as well as health workers for monitoring and sensitization against COVID-19. Chairman Tafa local government Ibrahim Mami Ija stressed the need for vigilance as the virus is now being transmitted at community level, taking into consideration the infection rate in their neighboring Kaduna State and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In Wuse, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
The Niger State COVID-19 mobile court has sentenced 8 persons to 6 months in prison with an option of 2,000 naira fine each for violating the stay-at-home order of the state government occasioned by the COVID-19. The suspects were arrested by operatives of the State Police Command. Suleiman Kodogi reports.
The suspects were arrested from different areas of Mina Metropolis by the joint security operatives during the enforcement exercise in the state. The mobile court section held on the premises of the State High Court was jointly presided over by Magistrates Murtala Ibrahim and Alima Muhammad. The state lead counsel Suleiman Buhari Wushishi said the suspects were arraigned before the mobile court on 2-count charges of violating social distances and stay-at-home directives of the state government under Section 17A and 2 of the State COVID-19 Order 2020, which they all pleaded guilty to. At the end of trial, the suspects were all discharged and acquitted after the payment of 2,000 naira fine each, with one minor, Musa Ibrahim, who only got one.
People never know the implication of being convicted. Once you are convicted, it is there, for posterity. So it is important that people need to be careful. People need to not undermine, this restriction order, and of course, it's for the benefit of the, generality of the society.
The SSG and Chairman Task Force on COVID-19, Ahmed Ibrahim Atani, explained that the mobile court for the violators of the lockdown order is in place in major towns of the state to serve as deterrent. Suleiman Kodegi, NTA News.
Kemi Oshin is standing by with more reports from Ibadan. Over to you, Kemi.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has requested for certification of more COVID-19 testing centers in the state. The governor made the appeal when the Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Dr. Chikwe Ihekazu, was on assessment tour of COVID-19 facility in the state. Kayode Oladoshu has the details.
Assessing the facilities procured at the Olodo Infectious Disease Center, the Director General of NCDC noted that the medical equipment at the center will not only serve your state, but the country at large.
Working together with the WHO support, the NCDC support, and all aspects of government, we can really create a great example for the country here in Ibadan.
Hosting the officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization's representatives, Governor Makinde reiterated that one of the measures to curb the spread of COVID-19 is to establish more laboratories for testing of the virus.
The fact that we want to do mass testing, our aspiration is actually to test 10,000 people within the shortest possible time. So we need your support.
The Director General of Nigeria Disease Control was in Oyo State to evaluate the steps taken by the state government in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic in Ibadan. Kayode Oladushu, NTA News.
As part of palliative measures to cushion the effects of COVID-19 on the citizens, the federal government has mandated the Nigerian Customs Service to give out confiscated bags of rice to state governments for onward distribution to the people. Correspondent Shola Wahid reports that the Comptroller of Customs, Oyo Osun Command, Uche Ngozi, complied with the directive at the Customs House in Ibadan.
6,000 parboiled rice were given to Oyo, Osun, Ekiti and Ondo State as directed by the Federal Government of Nigeria through the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The Controller of Customs, Oyo Osun Command, Uche Ngozi, handed over the rice to the representatives of the beneficiary states.
They inspect the rice. If they are okay for human consumption, if they have some, that is a fresh one, it's nice. Because the condemned ones, we don't mix it up with the healthy ones. The condemned ones, we have another warehouse where we keep them either for animal feed or for disposal.
Some representatives of the states expressed their gratitude and promised to do the needful to ensure adequate distribution of the items.
We received a call from Abuja that some consignment of rice is there for us to distribute to some southwest states.
The rice given to the states to cushion the negative effect of the stay at home and lockdown necessitated by the corona pandemic is better than being destroyed.
The outbreak of coronavirus has forced government at federal and state levels to mandate people to stay at home, hence the need for palliative measures. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Kemi. We'll now take another break. Nationwide continues. Don't go away.
Despair. Our country, Nigeria, needs us now more than ever. We stand a chance to save our great country, Nigeria. A chance to rise up from this pandemic stronger and better. What will be the gain if we do not learn from other countries and observe the lockdown to stop the further spread of the virus? If we loosen our guards and allow this virus doom our very existence, then what have we gained? This is the call to every Nigerian to unite as one and stop the spread of this deadly virus. Stay at home and stay safe. Remember, the virus doesn't move unless we move. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Staying at home is the most responsible thing to do. Please, learn a new skill. Be a better version of yourself. That's what I spend my time doing. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. I beg, make we sit down for house. I know some of us want to get back to socializing, but if we don't sit down for house, no good feel happen. Please, stay safe and stay responsible.
As a strong immune system increases the chances of victims surviving COVID-19, a corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 2255 4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Over the past few seasons, Airtel Touching Lives has helped to empower and uplift thousands of Nigerians. And this season was no different.
People are really suffering.
I still have a hope.
I know that God doesn't leave things halfway.
Thank you to all our viewers for inviting us into your homes and sharing in our journey as we continue to change lives.
Thank you for staying with Nationwide. Governor Masari on COVID-19 testing equipment. Over to Zile Mohammed, who is in Kaduna for that report and more. Zile.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening and welcome to Kaduna. Governor Nasir El-Rufai has tested negative for COVID-19 after 4 weeks of quarantine and strict medication. The governor confirmed this through a non-conventional video broadcast to the people of Kaduna State. Muhammadu Morajingi reports.
Fai, while confirming his test results, expressed happiness over the spontaneous messages of concern and solidarity from all Nigerians, and particularly applauded the professional commitment of his handlers from the State Ministry of Health and Borodiko Teaching Hospital in Kaduna, describing his deputy and chairperson of the State COVID-19 Standing Committee, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, as highly resourceful.
We must all work hard to ensure that we keep coronavirus or COVID-19 out of Kaduna State. We have lower infection rates than expected due to the stringent measures we imposed very early in our state. But we cannot let our guards down. We live in dangerous times. This disease is a threat to our humanity, our lives, and our livelihoods. As someone that has experienced it, I will not wish it on my worst enemy.
Governor El-Rufai therefore restated his commitment to ensure more proactive curtailing of the pandemic in Kaduna State through more stringent preventive measures and treatment of the few that fall victim to the virus. In Kaduna, I am Muhammadu Marajingi, NTA News.
And following the confirmation of index case of COVID-19 in Jigawa State, the state government has traced more than 46 persons who had contact with the patient now under quarantine. Awal Muhammad Kazawiri reports that samples of the suspected persons have been taken for examination.
Kazaura town is where Jigawa State recorded its index case of COVID-19, and the state government swung into action with immediate lockdown of the area to curtail its spread. The measure has started paying up. For now, 26 samples results are being awaited.
As you are aware, 2 days ago we had an index case in Kazauri, which is currently in our isolation and treatment center. So we went to Kazauri for contact tracing, and we traced about 46 individuals.
Meanwhile, the state government has extended the stay-at-home order for its civil servants by another 2 weeks. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
Governor Aminu Bello Masari of Kaduna State has called on the NCDC to provide more testing facilities for COVID-19 in the northern states of the Federation. The governor, who made the call while receiving the Director General of NCDC, Dr. Chukwe Ihekwazu, said the facilities will assist immensely in containing the coronavirus pandemic in the country. Awal Haliru reports.
The Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, accompanied by the country representative of the World Health Organization, was in Katsina to assess COVID-19 isolation and treatment centers provided in the state. The visit by the team was also to encourage Katsina State government to continue supporting the team responding to the outbreak. Governor Masari, who expressed dismay over the alarming increase of cases of coronavirus, however, expressed the need for the center to do more in the provision of more testing facilities.
Considering the society in northern Nigeria, these testing facilities, any state that can say now they have no COVID positive patient is because they have no testing.
He also informed the team on various measures his administration put in place to contain the spread of coronavirus pandemic. The Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Chukwe Ihekwezu, says the center is determined to ensure the pandemic is contained in the country. He also expressed optimism that the team would continue to find solutions that the state found itself with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. Awal Haliru, NTA News.
And we're back to Lydia in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Zile. The justice sector in Rwanda has begun using Skype to pass rulings on suspects in detention during the lockdown imposed due to the coronavirus pandemic. 17 cases were ruled on Monday at the Intermediate Court in Nyarugenge, with judges and prosecutors appearing in court, as well as a few people connected to the defendants in the cases. But the accused persons remained at their detention centers and were able to follow proceedings and participate via video conferencing.
happy because I had waited to get justice for some time now, and so I thank God for this because I did not know how I would get a ruling and had resorted to just pray to God. I thank the government for thinking of people like us that were in detention, which shows that it needs us to. People who do not have enough evidence against them to keep them behind bars and now have gotten a favorable ruling should have gotten that justice last month in March, but they had to wait nearly this whole month of April to get their ruling. We are therefore fortunate that we were able to use Skype to deliver those rulings to them without wasting any more time and delivering justice quickly.
Technology is now going to be used regularly as a way of speeding trials during the COVID-19 lockdown. Likewise, in Nigeria, following the continuous lockdown of courts and other judicial activities in the country, the National Judicial Council has held its 45th council meeting through video conferencing, with all the 24 members of council participating from their various jurisdictions across the country. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okeowo monitored the meeting from the NJC headquarters in Abuja.
This virtual meeting of the National Judicial Council has been a long way coming. Indeed, the process was started since 2012, and the situation in the country or in the world generally, the pandemic, has triggered this and made it faster. Now, for the first time in the history of Nigeria's judiciary, the administrative body that administers judiciary across the country is having a meeting in Abuja.
Good morning, my lord.
Presided over by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, the National Judicial Council is the highest administrative organ of the nation's judiciary. This meeting is a regular one in the running of the nation's judiciary. But in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the items on the agenda of the meeting would be to fine-tune the use of virtual and internet processes for the circulation of court processes and judgments. But for now, the meeting and the administration of the judiciary in Nigeria does not have to draw the physical attendance of members. Like in the case of this council meeting, only 5 out of the 24-member council were physically present in Abuja, along with the secretary of the council, Gambo Sali. Other members just remained in their jurisdiction and were part of the meeting through virtual processes. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
In Nigeria, the spread of coronavirus is at the community level, a stage some experts describe as very dicey. So how can Nigeria tackle this stage? I'm now being joined in the studio by Vice Chancellor of Bauchi State University, Professor Awalu Uba. Professor Awalu is also a microbiologist. Professor, welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
As a microbiologist, briefly tell us how the spread in the communities is fast and believed to be more dangerous.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, Nigerians. One of the major problems that we are facing as far as community spread is concerned is our capacity for testing. We need to improve our capacity for testing, and that will show us the magnitude of the spread. And it is in this view that we suggest the Nigerian Society for Microbiology has a lot to contribute in terms of the development of diagnostics, the specificity and of the diagnostics, because it is the testing capacity and the specificity of the testing that will give us the actual, some more insight about the extent of spread in the community.
Professor, can you tell us how best do you think this can be addressed to quickly bring an end to the pandemic in Nigeria?
Well, the fight is from so many fronts. It's a pandemic that needs to be fought from the medical point of view, the economic point of view, social, cultural, looking at the behavior of the people. In addition to the diagnostics that we spoke about, there is the need for education particularly in this part of the country, the northern part of Nigeria, because there are still a lot of people that do not even believe that the virus does exist. As a microbiologist, the Nigerian Society for Microbiology has a pool of a number of expertise that can contribute, as I earlier said, in the development of diagnostics, in the area of research, vaccine development. We need to know a lot about the virus microbiologically because without knowing the virus fully, it will be difficult for us to come up with a vaccine, because the world over now is geared towards finding a vaccine. So there is the need for us to actively involve more experts, particularly microbiologists, in search of vaccines, which will help in curbing the pandemic.
There are so many claims, especially on the social media, to having solutions to the pandemic. Do you think Nigeria is doing enough in this area? And is there really synergy among the various agencies?
Well, as far as Nigeria is concerned, I think the federal government is doing a lot. The presidential task force is doing enough, but there is the need for inclusion, including more experts. Nigeria is large, and the more experts are involved, I think the better for the country. By and large, the country, the Nigeria is doing adequately well in curbing the pandemic. You heard what happened in Kano and how quickly the presidential task force visited, particularly the Director General of the NCDC, and sending a rapid response team.
Thank you so much, Professor Awalu Uba. He is the Vice Chancellor of Bauchi State University. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And that's it on Nationwide. Thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Ujiji-Ochi. Bye for now.
This is NTA International.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.